never do this at a company. You would never shut down an entire division because you suspect that there's fraud. You would do an investigation and you would gather your data and your evidence while the division continues to produce and design and all the things that they normally do. The premise that a lot of MAGA idiots try to convince others and convince themselves, which is that the government needs to be run like a business, bro. You gotta run it like a business. You gotta find waste and you gotta cut it. You gotta get it out, bro, or you're not gonna make any money. You're not gonna have a profit.
The government is there to govern. And when I say govern, people think of like, oh, I don't want to be like told what to do. Being governed is to provide services and needs and protections for the people.
Well, we're going to get into DOGE and what DOGE is alleging are their receipts for how much money they've saved the American taxpayers. We're going to get into a short video here from the CBS Evening News, where they break down what has actually been saved versus what is claimed to have been saved. And then we're going to get into a New York Times article as well, where they it's just a readout of these numbers as well. And something doesn't quite add up. Let's listen to this here.
A federal judge in Washington refused today to block Elon Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency from accessing government data. The judge said states suing Musk and DOGE had failed to demonstrate, quote, clear evidence of imminent irreparable harm.
Musk and President Trump say DOGE's mission is to root out fraud, waste, and abuse. And the White House claims DOGE has uncovered fraud, at least as the administration defines it. Here's Weijia Jiang.
This is what White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt pointed to as proof when asked about the fraud that Elon Musk's team claims to have uncovered.
This is a DEI contract, $36,000 for U.S. citizenship and immigration services.
Step away? Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
This is a $3.4 million contract, a Council for Inclusive Innovation at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Oh, I love this one, $57,000 for climate change in Sri Lanka.
When pressed if those are simply things that don't align with President Trump's policies, Leavitt said,
I would argue that all of these things are fraudulent, they are wasteful, and they are an abuse of the American taxpayer's dollar.
Last night, DOGE posted on its website what it called a wall of receipts to show its findings to date. So far, it has identified roughly $14 billion worth of federal program cuts, including at least 140 DEI contracts and grants. But all the money allocated was approved by Congress, and DOGE did not provide evidence of a single case of fraud or even alleged fraud.
President Trump and the White House keep conflating fraud, waste, and abuse. Does the distinction matter?
It does matter, and frankly, both sides are using terminology that's inaccurate and confusing the public.
Dave Walker led the Government Accountability Office for a decade, the congressional nonpartisan watchdog that investigates how taxpayer dollars are spent.
Most of the things that have been identified so far by DOGE represent waste and mismanagement, although waste is in the eye of the beholder. Very few things that they're talking about have risen to the level of being fraud. Fraud is illegal. On the other side, people who oppose DOGE are also using language that's inappropriate, saying that what they're doing is illegal or unconstitutional without providing any support for that.
Last week, President Trump cited a GAO report which found the U.S. government could lose between $233 and $521 billion a year to fraud. But that data was collected from 2018 to 2022, when fraudulent COVID payments soared.
How long does it take to find fraud? Can you find billions and billions of dollars in 1 month?
5 weeks.
It would be difficult to find billions and billions of dollars in 1 month because you have to make a legal determination, which ultimately the courts decide.
Yep.
You can assert that something is fraud, but that doesn't mean that it is. It's ultimately a legal judgment.
CBS.
So that I would argue is, because I appreciate what he said when it's like, well, some people on the other side are saying that what DOGE is doing is illegal or unconstitutional without providing okay. So there's my basis for it is like they're claiming they're asserting that they're finding waste and fraud when it hasn't been adjudicated as such, right? Is that the claim of fraud is being made without an independent party, in this case a judge, having reviewed the evidence for and against and making a determination on that. Elon Musk is being the judge and jury on this, and he's just saying, yes, this is fraud, or yes, this is waste, without it having gone through the adjudication process. So that's one big thing. The other big thing is that this is all at the helm of Musk and DOGE are all a part of the executive branch. So the executive branch is, in some cases, they are freezing congressionally approved funds, which, as far as I understand it, that is illegal. That violates the Impoundment Act of 1974, as we discussed last week. So when this guy says that people on the left are claiming that it's illegal, sure, some of them aren't substantiating those claims, but it sounds like that there are very, very valid claims that some of what they're doing is illegal or is otherwise against the Constitution, right? Like, I know that like the Impoundment Act is I believe a court statute that's not a part of the Constitution. So on and so forth. But like these things are, he's right to point out that these things are going to need to be adjudicated to know for sure.
This news has repeatedly asked the White House for examples of the fraud it claims DOGE has found. Officials referred us back to DOGE's website and social media accounts, and they did not make anyone available for an interview.
So, Weija, why is this distinction important between what's merely waste and what is actually fraudulent?
Well, Dave Walker worries that repeating fraud claims undercuts trust in the government by the public, and critics are concerned that by alleging so much of it, Trump and his team have a license to take drastic measures at a breakneck pace without the proper oversight and transparency, which leaves room for error. Just tonight, the Department of Agriculture is scrambling to rehire staffers who are working on the response to the bird flu outbreak after they were accidentally fired.
Some of them have seen it before and they're still in awe.
So it's that's a good thing that they mentioned there at the end, is that it's this permission structure that is sort of created in this. Do I need to let me read it, please? Okay, good. Sure. Damn it. Damn it. It's a bummer. I swear I had this pulled up on one of my other browsers. Maybe I should try this one to see if it works. Nope. Damn. I should have known New York Times would be paywalled. When I first pulled it up, I think I saw the article and I must have just copied the link before. So let's see, DOGE wall of receipts, savings added up. WAPO. Okay. NPR maybe will help us out here. A new online tracker on the Department of Government Efficiency's website puts a dollar amount on the estimated savings from the DOGE effort to slash federal spending at $55 billion. But an NPR, even $55 billion, like what was U.S. federal budget in 2024? $6.9 trillion was our budget in 2024. So even if, wow, what percentage is 55 billion out of 6.9 trillion? That is 0.8%. 0.8% of our annual federal budget is all DOGE can claim that they've saved. And that doesn't even add up. is what we're about to find out here. That doesn't even math out right. But that's all they've claimed. And I believe that they were wanting to have, I don't know, what was their target up to this point? Wasn't their target like $200 billion or something? Okay, so says some savings come from sources like fraud detection and deletion, workforce reductions, programmatic changes, and regulatory savings. Okay. We are working to upload all this data in a digestible and fully transparent manner with clear assumptions, consistent with applicable rules and regulations. To get started, listed below are a subset of contract and lease cancellations. Okay. So checking the math behind DOGE's claimed savings, an NPR analysis of federal contract data found that the potential savings so far from cuts to federal contracts are far less than what DOGE estimates. Savings initially claimed from a subset of terminated contracts, $16.5 billion. Savings after fixing a data entry error, so they did fix the error, or I guess NPR is fixing that error. So that was, I believe, the data entry error where it came to that they said a contract was worth $8 billion when it was actually only worth $8 million. I'll bet that's what that is, because this is a reduction of roughly $8 billion here. Savings from contracts that haven't been terminated yet. So they haven't even, so $8.5 billion is probably the closer to the actual number, which again, it's such a small percentage of our federal budget. That's just insane. I think that's 0.14% is what I heard calculated recently. Savings from contracts that haven't been terminated yet, $6.5 billion. Estimated savings from contracts NPR confirmed as canceled is $2 billion. So that's all they've actually saved up to this point is $2 billion. And I think that that's way off of what their target was. This ICE listing, that's the one that they said was, you know, 8 billion when it was actually 8 million. Okay, that number was a typo that was corrected in the contract database to 8 million on January 22nd before being terminated a week later. And DOGE has always used the correct $8 million in its calculations. Well, that's comforting, I guess, but they initially publicly stated it was 8 billion. So that's a pretty big fuck up if you ask me. Sometime Tuesday evening. So someone like tried to lie about it again or something, and then they got recorrected once more. Continues to list 55 billion in total estimated savings. Which again, I mean, even if you take them at their word, 55 billion, that is 0.8% of the 2024 annual budget. I would bet some of these savings are over more than a year, right? So it's probably even smaller than 0.8%, I would bet money. That's crazy. So here's where that looks to have been corrected. Just over half the contracts toted by DOGE, counting for $6.5 billion in alleged savings, haven't even been terminated. Okay, right, there's that statement. A $1 billion IT support contract with Social Security Administration. It actually added $1.8 million in obligated spending and additional funding for a Forest Service project management contract worth up to nearly $30 million. More than a third of the listed contracts posted online would not actually save any money if canceled, and that's according to DOGE. In all, list of just over 500 contracts that NPR found to be canceled runs closer to $2 billion, with roughly half coming from gutting the Department of Education and the CFPB and USAID. Which again, like, if I remember correctly, there were inspectors general with both USAID on behalf of USAID and CFPB who were investigating Elon Musk. So when you talk about that he's not taking a paycheck and he's doing this out of the kindness of his heart, you're so fucking unbelievably wrong. And this is proven by recent developments such as 400 million dollar Tesla contract. It wasn't awarded with that. What? Oh, Tesla listed the contract? But it was, wow, I'm getting fact checked in real time. Wow. Let's go to the Associated Press. State Department halts plan. So this was gonna happen, and I'm guessing the backlash was a big deal. Hey, you know, good. I guess this is one thing I can say is that at least the Trump administration is putting that on hold. That's good. I hadn't heard that till today.
Yeah. Maybe the backlash got him. I don't know.
Maybe. The Biden administration had tasked the State Department to gather information from potential suppliers to buy these vehicles in September. An official request for bids was to be released in May, according to State Department data from December. But that solicitation is now on hold with no plans to issue it, the State Department said. And I assume, you know, hey, again, if this is like, hey, we recognized a potential conflict, and like, again, this was decided in the Biden administration, which is a little crazy. I would have personally objected to Biden trying to buy $400 million worth of armored fucking Teslas. So, yeah, well, it sounds like that's not happening. That's good. I mean, still, the inspectors general who were investigating him, that's I mean, he gets most of his money from the federal government anyway through, oops. I did not mean to hit enter there. Inspectors General Musk. Investigate. Oh my god, I cannot type. I still fucked it up. I want to find an actual administration DOGE punish agencies. And the crazy thing is that they're getting rid of inspectors general who literally their job is to eliminate fraud, waste, and abuse.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that there's some sort of argument on the MAGA side that's like, you know, well, why aren't they doing their jobs? And it's like the thing is that and you know, we have yet to see what is evidenced of waste and fraud from DOGE. At least the entirety of what they're presumably going to share by the time this is all said and done. But I would imagine that, again, what is wasteful spending is going to be their opinion of what is wasteful spending. Things like DEI efforts and whatnot are going to be wasteful in their opinion. I imagine that there won't be hardly anything that meets the legal threshold of fraud, because again, that's what inspectors general do. And I would imagine that most of that assuming that they were staffed appropriately and had time to carry out their investigations before, under maybe even Trump's first term and of course Biden's term, that they would have found most of the real fraud that exists. Now, I wouldn't put it past Elon Musk or Trump to claim that something is fraudulent without having the legal threshold in which to make the claim, because they don't give a fuck about the law. We know this. But in terms of what will meet the legal threshold for fraud, I doubt they find hardly anything, if anything at all. Because again, there's already somebody there doing that fucking job. And the fact that Elon Musk has multiple government contracts with the companies that he has not divested himself from, he's still the CEO of SpaceX, Tesla, and I guess the Boring Company, all these companies. and SpaceX has massive amounts of money coming in from government contracts, and he's actively like getting rid of some of the inspectors general who were investigating him, as far as I can tell. Let's control find on this article. Musk. As you have both said, you looked at abuse, fraud, and waste. Elon Musk's team, DOGE, is claiming that they're uncovering fraud, waste, and abuse, the same things both of you did in your role. So how is DOGE's work different than yours? The stated missions sound very similar. In order to prove a criminal case, that takes a long time. There are many steps from beginning to end. The work that we do is grounded in standards that govern how audits are done and investigations are done and evaluations are done. And it is painstaking and rigorous, the work that's put together, so that we may have the credibility that we have to make recommendations. And so the independence piece is also critical here, because in order for us to do work that isn't viewed as partisan, we needed that independence. We are not an arm of the president. We don't implement policy. We point out where things aren't going well. We point out error rates. We recommend collection of overpayments. We identify where there are safeguards that aren't working to protect people. This is an amazing statement on what I've interpreted something similar to this when it comes to inspectors general and how they go about doing their jobs. But this, to me right here, this is obviously this person sounds like they were an inspector general. So they're just, I've not seen it written better in such a concise statement on what the purposes of these individuals that are serving their country in these positions as inspectors general, right? This is just so well defined here. And to me, regardless of my politics, this is the way I would think you would need to do this. I've got this analogy that I cannot get out of my head, CQC, when it comes to what DOGE is doing and how they're going about things and what it means. And I think I've come up with a beautiful comparison in my mind. What if Apple's board of directors had appointed a new CEO, and when that new CEO took his office and started actually doing the work and showed up on his first day, he brings an outside person with him, somebody who's not a part of Apple. They bring him in, and it turns out he's been financially, he's been like behind the promotion efforts of this person to be CEO. And you learn that he had a financial investment in this person becoming CEO. And then they just sort of unilaterally claim that at Apple that the iPhone department is full of waste and fraud. So instead of slowing down, allowing the iPhone division of Apple to continue to produce phones, to continue to design next generation phones, what they do instead is they shut down the funding to that department altogether. And that suddenly the iPhone division of Apple is no longer producing phones. They're no longer designing phones. They're no longer working, looking at like repair processes for phones. They're not doing any work all of a sudden. Apple as a company is going to suffer from that immensely when it comes to a revenue perspective.
Well,
and you could go further with this analogy that it turns out that Apple had hired an independent investigator to investigate an iPhone contract that they had with a huge buyer, and it turned out that huge buyer was the guy that's working with the CEO, who's just an exterior person. You can go so deep with this analogy, and it sounds more and more insane the further you go, because you would never do this at a company. You would never never shut down an entire division because you suspect that there's fraud. You would do an investigation and you would gather your data and your evidence while the division continues to produce and design and all the things that they normally do. You wouldn't just freeze things to a halt. That is rash. That is stupid. That is irresponsible. That is how you get more plane crashes when you freeze, when you like let go of a lot of people who are just hired in the FAA, when you let go of probational employees. Let me guess, if they were probational, they were, that means they were probably hired in the last year. These people were probably really needed. They were probably hired on a probational basis because they really needed these people, because that was identified within the last year. Again, you could go on and on and on with that analogy, and it just continues to sound irresponsible and crazy and doesn't work. And that's assuming the premise that a lot of MAGA idiots try to convince others and convince themselves, which is that the government needs to be run like a business, bro. You got to run it like a business. You got to find waste and you got to cut it. You got to get it out, bro, or you're not going to make any money. You're not going to have a profit. Businesses are profit motivated, and that is the sole drive of a business. Anytime, period, you are creating a business, it is because you want to profit. You obviously can have businesses, you can have organizations that are classed as nonprofit, but that is an exclusionary thing. If you are starting a business and it's going to be an LLC, it's going to be a full-blown corporation, what have you, whatever your legal structure is, you are doing that to make a profit. The government, any government of any country of all time, should never, ever, ever, ever have a profit motive, because the government is not there to make fucking money. How people don't separate those things is insane.
The government is there to govern.
It is there to provide a service. A multitude of services to people.
Correct. And when I say govern, people think of like, oh, I don't want to be like told what to do. No, that's not the role of being governed. Being governed is to provide services and needs and protections for the people. That is the point.
Couldn't agree more, man. Couldn't agree more. So yeah,
it's that cut and dry.
It really is. It really is. So, when you look at, and like, oh my God, like, and especially because like, even if you were correct in some capacity, even if you were somehow correct in some capacity that, that, a government could benefit from some business practices or business strategy, okay, I'm willing to entertain that argument. I'm not ruling out that there's some things that businesses do that a government might be able to do or employ that could benefit the government or the citizens or what have you. But
right,
I don't throw it out altogether, but why would you want two of the historically most horrible-minded business people? Okay, Elon Musk is a good investor. I'll give him that. Elon Musk is a very successful investor, but that is all he is. He, in no particular way, has been proven to run his companies any better than another company. I think the success of Tesla has to come down with the fact that he was willing to sort of push their boundaries and hire some more cutting edge, or hire some engineers that were willing to do more cutting edge things. Same kind of thing happened at SpaceX. He's apparently got the ability to hire some good people for some of the things that he takes, some of the projects he takes on. He has the ability to find companies that are in a good position to make money, and he invests in them by buying them. That's common. But then you come to the example of Twitter, where Twitter has, if anything, gotten significantly worse as far as its revenue model since he's taken charge. You've had advertisers leave the platform like crazy because it's become this like just right-wing fucking echo chamber.
Yeah.
And then he uses it basically to try and get a bunch of undeserved, unelected power for himself by purchasing the 2024 election for Donald Trump. And he owns Donald Trump, everybody. It's so obvious. He owns Donald Trump. He's got the guy by the balls. And you know, some people are saying, I don't know how credible this is, but some people are saying that this is a strong indication that the Trump piss tape is real. That there might genuinely be some video out there of Trump getting pee-peed on as a kink, and that he is desperate to keep that from getting out into the public. I don't know. That's just what some people say. Trump can quote some people. I too can quote some people. I don't hold myself to much of a higher standard than he does, obviously. So yeah, Doge is probably, in all likelihood, they're probably more fraudulent themselves than anything that they're claiming to expose. They certainly are wielding a bunch of power that they were not in any way, shape, or form elected to wield. And Trump is just letting them do it. He's just letting them do it. And it's the conflicts of interest go so far beyond this. I admit it's a bummer to me that this $400 million Tesla contract is just a soundbite now. I'm annoyed that there are some Democrats that are still using that soundbite. That is why we do what we do. That is why we verify things. We fact check things, because we are sometimes fed misinformation too, right? And I don't think in the case of me hearing about this Tesla contract, I don't think that anything I've personally heard, it was like a disingenuous representation of that, where they were in bad faith saying, yes, Tesla is being awarded this contract. I think what it was that the contract had been discovered, and then the Trump administration had to make a statement on it, and they were made sure that the State Department made sure that the contract didn't move forward, and that simply those claims were just already out there in the world, right? Is that social media, people on social media all over the place, they had already put the claims out there. Granted, they should offer a correction if they knew that was wrong. So maybe there's an argument to be made there. But I will say first, I was not aware that the Tesla contract was not moving forward for those $400 million in Tesla, armored Teslas. Now, if it surfaces in 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, whatever, that they lied about that and that the contract is being fulfilled anyway, then we'll bring it up again. But at this time, their statement is that no, it's not happening. Elon's not getting an additional $400 million in contracts from the federal government for Teslas. He's just going to keep making the money that he's making off of SpaceX contracts as well. While they politicize you heard about this, right? That Elon and Trump are both claiming that the astronauts that have been up on the ISS for the past year, that they claimed that Biden left them up there for political reasons, which is just completely batshit bonkers insane. That these astronauts, so I'll just tell you the fact check that I've heard on this is that these astronauts, yes, they got up there, and yes, their return vessel, whatever was going to bring them back to Earth, had a problem. Some sort of helium leak, I believe, is the information I've heard. And that sounds like SpaceX was ready to get something up there for them right away, and that apparently Joe Biden had tried to broker that they were already actively trying to figure out, how do we get these people home? But then while they were up in the ISS, they had learned that the only astronaut who was up there at the time had this job that he was going to have to do, this task he was going to have to take on. I don't know if it's a repair job or if it's a maintenance job, something like that. But these two astronauts opted on their own will, their own volition. They're like, you know what? Let's just stay up here like a year. We're already here. It takes hundreds of millions of dollars to get us up here. Let's just do something productive while we're here. We'll bond, we'll interact, we'll have these cute little social media moments, and we'll help this guy get this job done because we're up here anyway. And Elon Musk knows about this, you guys. He knows that this is the truth. And yet he's on a Hannity interview last Sunday, I think, with Trump saying, oh yeah, Joe Biden left them up there for political reasons. You are just being lied to, just plain as day. And you're just ignoring this shit, you guys. How crazy is that? How crazy is that?
Yeah, I mean,
And
it literally, the ISS commander literally fucking said, like, that's not true. Like, just
yeah, they
stop.
went to I believe they went to Twitter. They went to
Yeah.
Elon's platform to be like, that's a lie.
And then,
That's
and
untrue.
then he responds to it and uses the R word on him.
Does he
Musk
for real? I didn't see that.
Yeah, Musk calls him fucking retarded.
That's insanity. I did not see that.
Yeah.
Twitter oh gosh, I guess I should say Musk and ISS. What is his title? Commander?
Yeah, pretty sure it's ISS commander or something like that. Yeah.
Beef. I'm just gonna say Twitter. Musk versus the ISS commander. Oh my God. Here we go. What a lie. And from someone who complains about the lack of honesty in the mainstream media. Good job, Andreas.
Yeah, he got fucking destroyed on Twitter over that.
Oh my God. Like imagine being this fucking guy, dude. Imagine being this fucking guy. What a despicable scumbag piece of shit. Shit father too. Literally claiming, "Oh, I didn't have that up on my screen. Sorry everybody." I don't know, maybe I shouldn't cuz it does have the R word in it. I'll just paraphrase it. So someone posted, I follow this guy on Blue Sky, Akin, a scene, I don't know, it's ACYN on Twitter. Hannity, you're going to help rescue the two astronauts, Musk. They were left up there for political reasons, which this is the claim. We just repeated this claim. And then the commander at the ISS himself comes onto Twitter and quote tweets that and says, "What a lie." And then he says, "And from someone who complains about lack of honesty from the mainstream media." Okay. I can already hear some MAGA debate bros now go, "Well, no, wait a minute. He doesn't explain how this is a lie. He doesn't clarify what is about this is a lie. Maybe it's true. He doesn't know what's going on the ground." Well, he knows what's going on in the ISS, doesn't he? He knows what's going on in the ISS. He knows that these two astronauts agreed to stay up there for a year because it's going to cost so much to get them back home. They thought that it just made more sense to just do that. And then Musk responds to this quoted tweet and says, "You are fully R-worded. SpaceX could have brought them back several months ago. I offered this directly to the Biden administration and they refused. Return was pushed back for political reasons. Idiot." So again, I offered this directly to the Biden administration and they refused. Could they just hear me out for a second, you MAGA debate people? I can just hear you clicky clacking your little thumbs on your little touch screen. Is it possible that if this, let's just take what Elon Musk says as accurate, that the Biden administration refused the SpaceX rescue mission, if you will. If that is true, is it possible that the Biden administration had already been aware of the wishes of the astronauts up there, that they were going to remain up there to help accomplish a mission for the commander, with the commander? Is that not possible? I would love to see a full fact check on that. I'm not going to get into it right now. I need to hop off and get started on some dinner, but I mean, my God, just Elon Musk is at the bare minimum. He's heavily misrepresenting the claim there. He's heavily misrepresenting that. Actually, you know what? I don't give a fuck. I do want to do a quick fact check on this because that's just insanity. Fact check: astronauts in space, political reasons. Okay, Newsweek did a fact check. Did Biden abandon 2 U.S. astronauts in space, as has been claimed by Trump and Musk?
No. Short answer.
Okay.
No.
Right. Williams and Wilmore's mission was originally planned to only last a few days, but is now set to stretch more than here. Let me get the live feedback up here so that we can look at this. Oh, and an ad pops up on the website. That's funny. Okay. It was only planned to last a few days, but is now set to stretch more than 8 months. A series of technical failures, including thruster malfunctions and a helium leak with the Boeing Starliner crew capsule that took them up there, meant that they were unable to make a return journey. The 2 astronauts arrived at the ISS in June of 2024 aboard the Starliner for what was originally planned as an 8-day test flight. NASA has since arranged for them to return on a SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule that is docked at the station. It's been docked up there. That's the other thing I heard, is that this thing has been docked up there a while. They literally have the ability to come back at pretty much any point. Trump announced the decision via Truth Social on Tuesday, writing, "I have just asked Musk and SpaceX to go get the 2 brave astronauts who have been virtually abandoned in space by the Biden administration. Good luck, Elon." Additionally, on the same day, Musk said the POTUS has asked SpaceX, like, again, this is that far right media pipeline that you dipshits will only read or listen to shit that has come from Trump or Musk themselves, which is then filtered down to like fucking Tim Pool and Dave Rubin and all these other right-wing idiots. So just because you all are parroting the same thing, you think it's fucking true. It's so ignorant. Facts just don't matter to you guys. Plans to recover the 2 astronauts were already in place when Trump was sworn into office. Under the Biden administration, NASA outlined plans to bring them home in December of 2024, proposing the use of the Dragon spacecraft by SpaceX, which Trump and Musk would later say they were going to use. The return journey of them was first reported in August of 2024, which is 2 months after they got up there, several months before Trump's election victory. Steve Stitch, the manager of NASA's Commercial Crew Program, told NPR that the astronauts were scheduled for a SpaceX flight home, describing it as the easiest and best option. In a statement in December when Biden was still president, NASA said the ISS recently received 2 resupply flights in November as well, and is well stocked with everything the crew needs, including food, water, clothing, and oxygen. The resupply spacecraft also carried special items for the crew to celebrate the holidays aboard the orbital platform. Additionally, NASA has remained in constant communication with them since June, coordinating recovery efforts with them throughout the extended mission. This means that the return journey that Trump and Musk asked Musk to execute was already organized under the Biden administration. Shocker. Trump claiming a victory that Biden had worked on. Imagine that. Okay. And of course, the claim is false. President Donald Trump's claim that the Biden administration had abandoned them on the ISS is contradicted by the continuous planning and communication between NASA and the astronauts under the Biden administration. It's not like getting in your fucking like convertible or whatever. It's not like getting in your fucking Subaru to go to Starbucks, you guys. You can't just fucking like up and go. It's like space travel is like a thing that has to be planned, right? Like it has to be, you know, they have to know so much going into it. There has to be safety checks and all that kind of shit, right?
Yep.
A return operation was already planned months before Trump took office in January, with NASA organizing the recovery in December of 2024 for February, though it was later delayed to March this year. Williams and Wilmore were already scheduled to return from the ISS on a SpaceX flight before Trump asked Musk to get them back. Crazy that you guys just believe this shit. Just crazy. But it's a bottomless pit. It's a bottomless pit. You all know no bounds. So cool. Well, I think that's gonna wrap up the stream for today. CQC, did you have any final thoughts before I read our lovely mission?
I got nothing. I got a smoked meat that
you gotta tend to
finish cooking here. Yeah, I gotta get back to it.
Fair enough. All right. Well, it's time for me to cook dinner anyway. But just real quick, we are Ramifications Politics. We're both very politically minded people, been in politics a long time. Just the first time we've ever put our opinions out there, so to speak, put our takes out there, reviewed any sort of information. We both supported Harris Walz, and of course down ballot Democrats across the board for 2024. We are horrified by what the Trump administration has already done this time around. Project 2025 is well underway. And we've covered a lot of things, even just today, that should really freak out a lot of people. But, you guys wanted your win, so you got it. So we are going to be a place that if we find any MAGA people who have warmed up to the fact that they've been lied to, that they've been scammed, that they've been duped, we are going to be here for you, but we will not treat you like babies in terms of we will not coddle you. We will say some harsh things. We will call you guys stupid. Obviously, we've done a lot of that today. But if you understand that where you went wrong and you show a willingness to learn from it, to go from it, nobody here is going to expect you, just because you realize MAGA was wrong, nobody here is going to expect you to suddenly become a Democrat. We just want you to vote for normal Republicans again if you're going to be a Republican. It's as simple as that, to just reject tyranny, reject fascism, and just be Republicans again. That's all we would ever expect.
That's all.
Ask for people.
That's all we're trying to bring back here, like our normalcy back. The fucking just believing just democracy and the constitutional republic that we have. I want y'all to believe in that shit again. And
Agreed.
Get back on a normal path and stop with the MAGA fascist bullshit.
Yeah.
That's all we want. And I know that y'all fucking...
Go ahead.
Go ahead. You're good.
Okay, I was just going to say, and we're here to sort of be try to be a force for helping usher that change into people. We know a lot of young men especially broke for Trump. I think a lot of them will, if not already, will very quickly realize that they were misled. We want to be considered a source by people. I don't care if it's 10 people who come watch our videos every week or 10 people who come watch the stream every week. If you're here, we want you to be here. We thank you for being here. Even if you leave stupid comments like fucking Marion did earlier, if that's even a real person, probably a bot, like we said. But even if you're going to be here to push back and fight against us, we welcome it, because we will happily debate you and just completely embarrass you with facts and logic. Well, honestly, a lot of you guys make our job pretty easy in that regard, to tell you the truth. So, but yeah, that is it for this week. We will should expect to be on next week. I think I don't see any conflicts in my schedule for next week at 3 p.m. Central Time. We should be live again. Till next week, everybody, keep an eye on the YouTube channel. We'll have some of the videos some of the topics we went over today edited, thrown up onto YouTube. I love doing that. It's been there's been a lot of interaction on that so far. So if you're not already subscribed on YouTube, please go do so. It's youtube.com/@ramifications politics. So you have the S in both words, ramifications and politics. And if you can't spell ramifications, God help you.